25 years ago, the legislature in Massachusetts created the Massachusetts Legal Assistance Corporation, which receives funding from the legislature and then distributes funding to the 17 legal services programs across Massachusetts based on the number of poor people in their particular service areas. The programs receive funding through a legislative appropriation and also the Interest on Lawyers Trust Account programs. The Massachusetts legislature recognized that low-income people need access to legal representation and wanted to ensure that there were legal services programs all over Massachusetts to make sure that low-income people had access to justice.
Many low-income people don't even imagine that they have recourse or right to have civil legal services. They often get into desperate trouble for months or sometimes years before somebody says, "Go see legal aid. They can help you." When they do, legal aid can turn around their situations and afford them a measure of justice which they may have been lacking for years.
The clients who come to legal aid are clients who have often not had anyone to help advocate for them. The people who we see in our office are often having the worst time of their lives. They're at the most serious kind of disadvantage in a court of law, where everything operates on a set of rules.
What Legal Services does is we try to level the playing field for people who have some adversity. People don't choose poverty. Usually poverty is a state that has many, many causes.
The legal issues that our clients face are often very complicated. Clients don't understand the forms that they've had to fill out. They don't understand the letters that say that you've been denied benefits. And it's really our job to help them understand that and to advocate for them if their rights have been infringed on. A lot of the clients that we serve don't speak English. Some can't read, some can't write. Many of our clients have disabilities that prevent them from being able to fully engage in life.
They come in with a situation that often involves family law, immigration, benefits, housing, and many other areas of law. Because we have attorneys practicing in a wide variety of areas, we're able to provide the one client with services in all those areas.
We see such a range of clients who are victims of domestic violence or crimes, veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. The Ma's were immigrants from China who had rented an apartment in East Boston. They had always paid their rent to their landlord on time. Mrs. Ma, who literally does not speak a word of English, was at home preparing lunch one afternoon when constables arrived. She thought she was being robbed.
And then
all of a sudden 6 men show up in my apartment. And they start moving my stuff away.
What had actually happened was that the Ma's landlord had lost the building to foreclosure. The Ma's had no idea what was going on. The foreclosing bank had brought an eviction case against them in East Boston District Court, but they had never received a single notice or papers.
If Greater Boston Legal Services didn't help me, I probably wouldn't know how to get our belongings back from the bank. We probably wouldn't have been able to get priority status for public housing, and we probably wouldn't have been able to get any damages from the bank.
They needed legal representation. They needed to be able to secure their housing stability.
If you give a client information, that's power. And I see legal aid as a way of doing that. My client, Jane, was a victim of abuse in Kenya, along with her daughter, Stephanie. They had to flee Kenya due to the abuse and were referred to me by Children's Hospital.
My husband had burnt my daughter's hand, so we went to the Children's Hospital where we met a social worker, and the social worker referred us to the Greater Boston Legal Service. Actually, if it was not for Angel, I would be dead. So given another chance, he would definitely finish me.
We didn't know whether or not he would follow through on his threats, whether he would come to the United States. And the abuse had been so severe in Kenya that was indeed a fear.
I don't know the court systems well, so they're able to tell me which courts to go to, the probate court, which is the court for the restraining order, and they're able to guide me and tell me what to do and the right time to do it.
I was able to meet with Jane, assist her with obtaining a restraining order and getting that order continued. And now Jane has a 1-year restraining order along with custody of her daughter. And she's able to begin pursuing an independent life in the United States, hopefully without the fear of further abuse from her husband.
I'm able to have my self-esteem back, which I did not have when I was in the abusive situation. I'm more independent, and I've discovered things I would do than when I was in the abusive situation. Being in the abusive situation, I thought I was useless. I mean, I had no goals in life, and being out there and getting the assistance I'm getting has really pushed the way I think and the perspective of life I have.
The lawyers and advocates that work in legal services are incredibly dedicated and passionate about the work they do. Some of the private attorneys that work with us really come away from their experience feeling wonderful about the work that they've done and what they've been able to achieve for a person who, without their help, would never have been able to achieve justice.
I think it's very necessary for attorneys to come down and volunteer their time, not only young attorneys just out of law school, but also experienced attorneys that have gained knowledge over the years, because it's very beneficial to society. There's quite a benefit to both the client as well as to volunteer attorneys. The client not only has somebody that's able to give them correct information, proper information to go in and defend themselves, but it's also satisfaction at the end of the day for me, knowing that I was able to help somebody that wouldn't otherwise have been able to have my help.
I made a pledge to myself when I became a lawyer that no matter what I did or where I went, I would always see to it that representing poor people was a regular part of my professional practice. I tried my best to keep to that commitment and to encourage others to do so. I think it's a critical part of your professional existence, something everyone needs to do to feel fulfilled as a lawyer.
There still is the ability to make a difference, to make a real positive contribution in somebody's life.
Probably the hardest thing about doing legal aid is knowing that we're turning people away who need our help, who are deserving of our help, and probably with our help would have a very different outcome. The survival of legal aid really depends on the legislature. It really depends on politicians. It depends on the private bar. It depends on people who care about their communities, people who care about having a stable society. It's an investment that you're going to make so that you can avoid the costs later, the increased crime, increased drug use, increased hospitalization costs. It's not a theoretical consequence. We've seen it happen.
We need to not have to say no to clients who are in dire need. We can actually, through our hard work and dedication and expertise, make a little funding go a long way.
Legal services programs in Massachusetts really need your support. Whether you're a funder or a private individual, if you're an attorney and you have time to volunteer to help our clients, if you have other skills that you'd like to offer to legal services programs, please contact your local legal services office to find out how you can help.